What if the universe has rooms we can't enter, corridors we can't walk, directions we can't point to, because our language for left and right, up and down simply runs out? What if the shapes that steer galaxies, the rules that braid light, the reason matter holds together at all, are written in dimensions our senses never meet? We navigate a world of three: length, width, height, and borrow a fourth we call time. But beneath this straight-edged hallway of experience, the cosmos may be ribbed with hidden arches and lattices, a secret scaffolding, humming just out of view. We have always built maps from shadows. The ancients measured the earth from the angle of a stick in sunlight. Sailors crossed oceans using stars they could never touch. Today, we measure ripples in space-time itself and read the echo of the universe's first light. Over and over, we learn the same lesson. Reality is bigger than the senses that evolved to survive it. The path ahead asks us to imagine more, not just bigger spaces, but other kinds of space. This is a journey through the unseen architecture of the cosmos. Strings that sing, brains that drift, lattices of light, horizons that store the world like a page of code. We'll ask whether space is woven from information, whether gravity leaks between layers, whether time itself is a shadow of deeper relations. We'll trace the delicate web that holds clusters of galaxies like dew on a spider's thread, and then dive inward to the vibrating filaments that might underwrite all matter. If there are hidden dimensions, they are not elsewhere. They are here, folded into every breath, every star, every moment. We live inside the cathedral and call it sky, never noticing the vaulting above. Tonight, we light a lantern and look up. Begin with a line, a traveler's road scratched into sand. Add a second line crossing it, a market square, a compass rose. Place a third, rising out of the page, and the drawing becomes a room you could enter. For most of human history, this felt like the whole story. Two directions on the ground, one toward the clouds, and the slow metronome of time to push it forward. The world was a box with windows, and we were its occupants. But the box never fit. Sailors learned that straight paths on a sphere can curve back on themselves. Surveyors found that triangles drawn across mountains refused to add to the expected sum. Astronomers watched Mercury misbehave, its orbit whispering of a geometry the Newtonian grid could not hold. Then Einstein arrived and said the quiet part out loud. The map is not laid on the world is the map. Mass and energy do not move through space. They make space, flexing it, folding it, slowing time itself as surely as a heavy stone depresses a taut sheet. Suddenly, straight meant geodesic, the shortest path through a curved fabric you could not lift to see from above. Gravity stopped being a force that pulls and became the shape that guides. The cosmos turned from a stage into a living architecture. Each star, a column, each galaxy, a slow whirl of ornament carved by the very structure it inhabits. We had found an architecture beneath the architecture, and it did not end at 4. Follow this feeling outward. On scales too large for a lifetime, the universe arranges itself into a web, not an even mist of stars, but filaments and nodes, walls and abysses. Clusters of galaxies bead along strands hundreds of millions of light years long, while vast voids yawn between them like caverns. Gravity, patient sculptor, draws matter along invisible gradients, and dark matter, the unseen majority, lays down the first scaffolding. When you map this web, you see something uncanny. Structure from whispering initial ripples. Order traced over eons by rules baked into the very fabric. It is not random. It is not smooth. It is a design language playing out across the sky. Turn inward. Atoms are not miniature planets circling a tiny sun. They're probability clouds, standing waves in fields that fill all of space. Electrons are where the cosmic equations allow them to be, not marbles lodged in tracks. The solidity of the world is a field of permissions and prohibitions, nodes and links, resonances and refusals. We hold a stone and feel resistance. What we truly touch are the rules. You may come this close, you may not pass. It is architecture again. Thresholds, lattices, locked doors, resonant halls. What controls these patterns? The softness of gold, the clarity of diamond, the breath of stars. Numbers that never change. The fine structure constant, the mass ratios of particles, the strengths of forces, the way space permits fields to vibrate. They are not set by habit or history. They are set by something deeper. If they shifted by hair-thin margins, stars might never ignite. Chemistry might never flower into life. The world is balanced like a bridge of glass. To ask why it holds is to ask where the blueprints live. Here, thought takes a dangerous step. Perhaps the blueprints are not drawn in the space we see. Perhaps the constraints that fix our constants, the melodies that matter can sing, are determined by shapes in hidden directions. Picture a flute. The air in the room sets the stage, but the instrument's cavities decide which notes are possible. Close one hole, open another, and the architecture of sound changes. Not because air changed, but because the space it must inhabit did. Now imagine the universe as the instrument. The holes are dimensions curled so tightly we never put a finger through. Their shape decides which vibrations are allowed, which particles exist, which forces take the stage. Change that shape, and the entire symphony alters. If this sounds like dream speak, remember the history of impossible things. Time dilates, space bends, light behaves as both wave and corpuscle. We have learned to distrust common sense where precision measurements teach otherwise. Hidden dimensions are not fictions, but solutions. A way to reconcile the deep with the wide, the quantum with the cosmic. They are not elsewhere, they are otherwise. Of course, we push against the limits of what can be tested. You cannot walk down the fifth dimension the way you cross a street. You cannot point a camera sideways into a direction no eye evolved to see. But we can feel for seams. We can look for tiny deviations in gravity at small scales, as if a whisper bled into our world from a neighboring hall. We can listen for new particles at high energies, hints that the instrument has more stops than we thought. We can read the oldest light for scars of collisions beyond our horizon, two rooms brushing through their shared wall. While we sharpen our instruments, the mind does its ancient work of building images. A cathedral, a web, a code on a boundary that projects a world within. Layer upon layer, metaphor strains to keep pace with math. In each, an intuition returns. The visible is a consequence of the invisible. The coarse is shaped by the fine. The room we live in is built by rooms we cannot enter. There is a humility in this, and a freedom. Humility because we do not stand at the summit of understanding. We stand in a hallway with doors still closed. Freedom because what we call real can grow. If space can curve and time can slow, if the vacuum itself can fizz with possibilities, then the leap to hidden directions is not a betrayal of reason. It is fidelity to what reason has already shown, that reality does not consent to be as small as our intuitions. So we begin our expedition with a new compass. North is curiosity, east is rigor, south is wonder, west is doubt. We will walk the lattice of galaxies and then drop through the floorboards into strings and branes. We will press our palms to horizons and ask how a surface can hold a world. We will tug at the threads of entanglement and see whether space itself is their tapestry. We will ask if gravity is a local courtesy or a traveler between rooms. Each step moves us not away from the familiar, but through it, from the map to the map beneath the map. Outside, the night remains enormous. Lines of stars hang over quiet fields, and the air cools as if to make room for thought. Somewhere, a photon that left a galaxy before Earth had oceans falls onto your retina and completes a journey measured in epochs. You blink, and an unseen architecture continues its patient work, holding galaxies in their place, enforcing the timbre of every atom in your bones, and maybe, just maybe, opening a corridor you cannot yet name. We will not promise easy answers. We will promise something rarer, a way of seeing that enlarges what counts as here. The hidden architecture is not a mystical elsewhere. It is the grammar of the world. Learn the grammar, and new sentences become possible. Breathe. Step forward. The room you thought you knew has more walls than you imagined, and more doors. Lattices of light. From cosmic web to quantum fields. Step back far enough, and the universe reveals a pattern. What seemed random, scattered stars, drifting galaxies, sharpens into design. Astronomers mapping the heavens discovered that galaxies are not sprinkled like sand, but strung like pearls along invisible threads. Clusters gather at nodes. Filaments stretch across hundreds of millions of light years, and between them lie voids so vast they could swallow thousands of galaxies whole. This is the cosmic web, a lattice of matter and light, sculpted by gravity and dark matter into a structure grander than any cathedral. The web began with whispers. In the infant universe, before stars, before galaxies, before atoms, the primordial plasma trembled with tiny fluctuations. Quantum ripples inflated to cosmic scale. Those ripples, amplified across eons, became the skeleton of the cosmos. Gravity drew matter along their gradients. Dark matter formed filaments. Gas pooled, and galaxies lit the strands like lamps hung on invisible wires. Today, when we gaze across billions of light years, we see not chaos, but a network. The universe is not empty, but woven. The cosmic web is not only vast, it is delicate. Its filaments are tenuous, nearly invisible, composed of faint gas and dark matter. To detect them, astronomers measure the bending of light from distant quasars, or map the shadows they cast on the cosmic microwave background. Slowly, the web comes into view, like frost forming on glass, fine, intricate, interlaced. It is a reminder that structure is not always obvious. The deepest architectures reveal themselves only with patience. Zoom inward, and the pattern repeats. The universe is not only woven at the largest scales, but also at the smallest. Atoms, once thought indivisible, are themselves lattices of probability, clouds of possibility stitched by fields. Electrons occupy orbitals, not orbits, standing waves in a quantum sea. The solidity of matter, the fact that stones resist our hands, arises from exclusion principles and field interactions, not from tiny marbles pressing together. The quantum world is a lattice of rules, an architecture of allowed states. Even emptiness is not empty. The vacuum of space seethes with virtual particles, flickering into existence and vanishing again, a foam of energy beneath the surface. Quantum fields permeate reality, vibrating, interacting, shaping what can exist. The Higgs field, discovered in 2012 through the Higgs boson at CERN, gives particles mass. Without it, matter would not form, galaxies would not exist, we would not be here. Reality is not built on nothing, but on fields, invisible frameworks that hold everything. Consider crystals. Their beauty arises from repetition, atoms arranged in lattices that extend in ordered patterns. Diamonds, salt, snowflakes, each owes its structure to invisible rules, to how atoms bond, how electrons share, how symmetry locks into place. At every scale, from galaxies to minerals to molecules, lattices emerge. Nature builds with repetition, with geometry, with invisible blueprints. Light itself obeys the lattice. Photons, the quanta of light, travel in waves, diffract, interfere, entangle. They are both particle and wave, both local and non-local, shaping the world in ways that defy intuition. Through interference, light creates fringes of darkness and brightness, patterns written by probability. Through entanglement, photons remain linked across vast distances, as though bound by invisible threads. Even light, the simplest messenger, reveals the lattice beneath reality. The cosmic web and the quantum lattice are not separate. They are reflections of the same truth. Structure is universal. Whether in the span of billions of light years or in the span of atoms, the cosmos is not chaos, but architecture. And that architecture is hidden, not obvious, waiting for us to map its threads. It sounds fake, absurd, that galaxies trace invisible strings, that emptiness boils with energy, that matter resists touch because of fields we cannot see. And yet each is true, measured, mapped, confirmed. The architecture of reality is stranger and more intricate than stone and wood, but it is no less real. And still, questions linger. Why these structures? Why these lattices? Why this architecture and not another? The answers may lie in dimensions we cannot see, in hidden shapes that decide how fields vibrate, how particles interact, how galaxies gather. The cosmic web and the quantum lattice are not the end of the story, but the beginning, the first hints of deeper structures, the first glimmers of the hidden architecture of the cosmos. The silence before time gave us space-time. Inflation stretched quantum ripples into the bones of galaxies. Gravity sculpted webs, fields shaped atoms, lattices formed, visible and invisible. And we, brief witnesses, map the structures, tracing the architecture we cannot yet enter, but which shapes everything we know, strings and vibrations. At the deepest levels of physics, the world is not made of particles, but of patterns. What we call electrons and quarks, photons and gluons may not be solid beads at all, but ripples in a deeper sea. Vibrations on threads so small they dance beyond perception. This is the vision of string theory, that the universe itself is music and matter is the score written upon it. Imagine a violin string. Draw the bow across it, and the string vibrates, producing a note. Change the length, the tension, the way it vibrates, and the note changes. Each sound is not the string itself, but the vibration it carries. Now shrink that string down to a size a billion times smaller than an atom. Let it vibrate not in air, but in the very fabric of reality. Each vibration is a particle. One mode sings electron. Another hums photon. Another resonates as a quark. The world, in this vision, is not made of things, but of harmonies. It is a radical thought, but not without precedent. In the 20th century, quantum mechanics revealed that particles are waves, probability clouds that interfere and diffract like ripples on water. String theory extends that insight. Waves are not abstract fields, but literal vibrations of tiny strings. Particles are not marbles, but notes. The mathematics of string theory requires more than we see. For the strings to vibrate consistently, to play their symphony without discord, the universe must have not 4 dimensions, but 10 or 11. The extra dimensions are curled up, compactified, invisible to us, like tiny corridors folded into every point in space. Their shape determines which vibrations are possible, which particles exist, which laws of physics govern our world. Change the geometry of those hidden dimensions, and the universe changes its tune. This is the hidden architecture, the very constants of nature, the strengths of forces, the masses of particles, may all be set by the geometry of invisible spaces. The world is the music of strings played on an unseen instrument. The elegance is breathtaking. In one framework, gravity and quantum mechanics, long estranged, may be reconciled. The same strings that sing the electron also hum the graviton, the hypothetical quantum of gravity. Unity emerges. Not 4 forces, but one melody, one orchestra playing many parts. But string theory also multiplies possibilities. The number of ways to shape the hidden dimensions is vast, perhaps infinite. Each configuration creates a different universe, with different particles, different forces, different possibilities. This is the landscape of string theory, a multiverse of architectures, each a possible cosmos. Our universe is one reflection among countless others, chosen not by necessity, but by geometry. It sounds fake, absurd, that the universe is built from vibrating strings, that hidden dimensions shape reality, that infinite other universes hum with different songs. And yet the mathematics is consistent, elegant, compelling. It offers a way to unify, to explain, to reveal the architecture beneath the architecture. Evidence remains elusive. Strings are too small to detect directly. Their vibrations occur at energies beyond our machines. But hints may lurk in subtle deviations, in patterns of cosmic radiation, in the behavior of black holes. Some even speculate that gravitational waves might carry imprints of string vibrations, echoes of the hidden orchestra. The search continues. Beyond the equations, the vision itself matters. To see the universe as music is to see it as harmony, as resonance, as pattern. Matter is not mute, but song. Galaxies are not accidents, but chords struck by hidden strings. Even consciousness, perhaps, is part of the symphony. Awareness itself, another note in the cosmic score. The silence before time gave us space-time. Inflation gave us webs. Fields gave us lattices. And strings whisper that beneath it all is vibration, music, resonance, the hidden architecture of the cosmos, humming in keys we cannot yet hear. Branes and parallel worlds. Strings alone do not tell the full story. As the mathematics deepened, physicists discovered that strings could not only form loops and lines, but also stretch into surfaces of higher dimension. Membranes, or branes for short. These branes could be one-dimensional like strings, two-dimensional like sheets, or higher still, three-dimensional volumes, or more. And within this framework, our entire universe may itself be a brane, floating in a higher dimensional space we cannot see. Picture soap bubbles drifting on a breeze. Each bubble has a thin surface, delicate yet real, defining a world within. Now imagine that instead of soap and air, the bubbles are universes, their surfaces brains, their interiors filled with galaxies, stars, and life. Our cosmos may be one such bubble, one brain in a higher dimensional sea. And if so, then there may be countless others drifting alongside, parallel worlds stacked together in hidden dimensions. These brains are not idle speculation. They arise naturally in string theory's mathematics, demanded by its consistency, and they offer radical answers. Gravity, for example, is far weaker than the other forces, so weak that a simple magnet can lift a paperclip against the pull of an entire planet. Why? Some theorists suggest that gravity is diluted because it leaks into extra dimensions. The other forces are confined to our brain, but gravity roams more freely, spilling into neighboring worlds. If true, then parallel realities are not distant, but adjacent, tugging faintly on one another through gravity's whispers. Collisions between brains could even explain creation itself. In the ekpyrotic model, our universe was born not from a singular Big Bang, but from the impact of two brains colliding in higher space. Their clash released energy, igniting expansion, scattering matter, forming stars and galaxies. The Big Bang, in this vision, is not the birth of all, but one spark among many, each collision birthing new universes. Creation becomes cyclical, brains drifting, colliding, separating, and colliding again. If this is true, then our universe is not unique. Other brains may exist nearby, invisible but real, carrying their own physics, their own histories, their own possibilities. Perhaps some are barren, devoid of stars. Perhaps others teem with galaxies. Perhaps some mirror ours almost exactly, while others are alien beyond comprehension. Parallel worlds, not fiction, but geometry. Do these brains overlap? Could we ever touch them? If gravity leaks between, then their presence might already shape us subtly, invisible yet influential. Some experiments seek to measure gravity at tiny scales, searching for deviations that could reveal hidden dimensions. Others look for missing energy in particle collisions, as if particles had slipped into neighboring brains. The search is young, but the possibility lingers that other universes are closer than breath, separated not by distance, but by dimension. It sounds fake, absurd. That reality is a three-dimensional sheet in a higher dimensional space, that parallel worlds drift alongside us, that universes collide to create new ones. And yet the mathematics allows it, the physics suggests it, and the implications are profound. Even philosophy trembles here. If parallel brains exist, then our universe is not central, but peripheral, one layer among many. Identity, meaning, existence itself expand beyond imagination. We live not in the universe, but in a universe, a shard of the fractured mirror. The silence before time gave us space-time. Inflation stretched it vast. Strings gave us harmonies. And brains suggest that our entire cosmos is a surface in higher dimensions. One bubble among countless others drifting in the hidden architecture of the cosmos. The holographic universe. What if reality is not what it seems? What if the solidity of matter, the depth of space, the flow of time, all the richness of the three-dimensional world we inhabit, is not fundamental, but a projection? Not the thing itself, but the shadow of something deeper, encoded on a distant surface. This is the vision of the holographic universe. that all we know, from galaxies to ourselves, is an image, a rendering of information stored on a boundary we cannot see. The seed of this idea lies in black holes. In the 1970s, Jacob Bekenstein and Stephen Hawking discovered that black holes are not featureless voids, but thermodynamic objects. They have entropy, a measure of information. But that information does not scale with volume, as intuition suggests. Instead, it scales with surface area, with the size of the event horizon, the skin of the black hole. It was as if everything that fell in, stars, planets, even light, could be encoded on the horizon itself, like data written on a page. The implication was staggering. If a black hole can contain its interior on its surface, then perhaps the universe itself can. Perhaps reality is not stored in volumes, but on boundaries, with the three-dimensional world emerging as a hologram projected inward. In the 1990s, Gerard 't Hooft and Leonard Susskind shaped this into the holographic principle, and Juan Maldacena gave it mathematical form with the ADS/CFT correspondence, a duality showing that a higher dimensional world with gravity could be fully equivalent to a lower dimensional one without it. Two different descriptions, one reality, the bulk and the boundary, the world and its code. It sounds fake, absurd, that our universe is a hologram, that depth is illusion, that we are projections, and yet the mathematics is elegant, the physics compelling. Black holes demand it. String theory embraces it. Quantum gravity whispers it. If true, the implications are profound. Space and time may not be fundamental, but emergent. They arise from entanglement patterns, from the way information is woven on the cosmic boundary. The geometry of the world, the very fabric of space-time, may be nothing more than a reflection of deeper information. And what of parallel realities? In a holographic universe, multiple images can be encoded in the same surface, revealed by different perspectives. Perhaps our universe is one projection, and others exist alongside, unseen but encoded. Perhaps the multiverse is not out there, but on the horizon, different renderings of the same hidden data. The fractured mirror becomes literal, one surface, many reflections. Do these projections overlap? Could we ever detect them? If the universe is holographic, then quantum anomalies may reveal the seams, deviations in cosmic radiation, entanglement patterns that betray the deeper code. Some physicists search for such hints in the cosmic microwave background, in black hole evaporation, in the behavior of high-energy particles. So far, no proof, but the search continues. Beyond physics, the holographic vision reshapes philosophy. If reality is projection, what does it mean to exist? Are we less real, shadows on a surface? Or are we more expressions of something deeper, connected to a source beyond space and time? Perhaps both. A hologram is not unreal. Its image carries depth, form, beauty, but it is not fundamental. It is expression. The silence before time gave us space-time. Inflation gave us webs. Strings gave us harmonies. Branes gave us parallel worlds. And the holographic principle suggests that all of it, the entire universe, may be a projection, a reflection, a rendering of deeper truths inscribed on the hidden architecture of the cosmos. Entanglement and the fabric of reality. At the heart of quantum mechanics lies a phenomenon so strange that even Einstein bristled at it. He called it spukhafte Fernwirkung, spooky action at a distance. This is entanglement, the invisible thread that binds particles across space and time. Two photons, born from the same event, separate by light years. Measure 1. and instantly the other responds. No signal crosses the gap. No messenger carries the news. They are not two, but one. A single state stretched thin across distance. For decades, entanglement seemed like a philosophical curiosity, a mathematical oddity, but experiments proved it again and again. From the laboratories of Alain Aspect to the quantum optics of Anton Zeilinger, entangled particles defied local realism, showing correlations faster than light could carry. The verdict was clear. Reality is not local. It is stitched together by invisible ties, woven across separations we once thought absolute. But entanglement may be more than a curiosity. It may be the very fabric of space-time itself. In recent years, physicists have proposed that geometry, the shape of space, the flow of time, emerges from networks of entanglement. The universe is not built of bricks, but of bonds, not of matter, but of connection. Take away entanglement, and space-time unravels. The cosmos is a tapestry, and entanglement is its thread. This vision reshapes everything. Gravity, in this view, is not a fundamental force, but an emergent phenomenon, the statistical effect of entangled quantum information. Black holes, once paradoxes, become laboratories, their horizons encoding entanglement that preserves information. Wormholes, once fiction, may be physical manifestations of entangled pairs, space-time tunnels built from quantum threads. The fractured mirror grows richer, realities linked not by bridges of matter, but by webs of entanglement. And what of parallel realities? If our universe is entangled with itself, could it also be entangled with others? In the many worlds interpretation, quantum branches split, but remain part of the same universal wave function. Decoherence hides their connection, but mathematically, the branches are not separate. They are entangled shadows of a larger whole. In this sense, the multiverse is not a scattering of isolated universes, but a single entangled state, fractured in perspective, but united in being. It sounds fake, absurd. That space is woven from entanglement, that wormholes are quantum threads, that universes themselves may be linked by bonds beyond distance. And yet the mathematics suggests it. The experiments confirm the foundation, and the implications are profound. Entanglement also reframes identity. If everything is entangled at some level, then nothing is truly separate. Particles, atoms, molecules, even minds may be linked in ways we cannot yet perceive. Consciousness itself, some speculate, may emerge from quantum entanglement in the brain, awareness as a resonance of invisible ties. If so, then we are not isolated selves, but nodes in a cosmic web, reflections entangled across mirrors. Do we feel it? Perhaps in synchronicities, in uncanny connections, in the sense of being part of something larger. Science cannot confirm such feelings, but poetry can honor them. The physics says, connection is fundamental. The philosophy says, meaning arises from connection. Together, they whisper, we are entangled. The silence before time gave us space-time. Inflation gave us webs. Strings gave us harmonies. Branes gave us parallel worlds. The holographic principle revealed projection. And entanglement now shows the threads, the stitches, the very fabric that holds the architecture together. Perhaps across dimensions, perhaps across realities, perhaps across all that is. Shadows of the self. Stand before a mirror and you see a reflection. Familiar, yet reversed. A copy, not quite the same. Now imagine not one mirror, but an infinity of them, fractured and scattered across realities. Each holds not only your image, but your life, playing out in countless variations. Some are almost indistinguishable, others diverge, with every choice, every breath. This is the unsettling possibility suggested by modern physics. If parallel worlds exist, then so do shadows of ourselves. The idea begins with quantum mechanics. In the many worlds interpretation, every quantum event branches reality. A particle here or there, an electron spin up or down, a photon passing through one slit or another. Each possibility plays out in a new universe. Scale this up, and every decision you make, every fork in your path, creates new branches. One you stays, another you goes. One you speaks, another remains silent. The fractured mirror multiplies the self. Cosmology adds its own weight. In an infinite multiverse, with bubbles of universes stretching endlessly, duplication is inevitable. Given infinite rolls of the cosmic dice, the arrangement of atoms that make up you will repeat. Somewhere, far beyond our cosmic horizon, another Earth exists. On it, another you lives. Maybe your life is identical to this moment, watching this same story unfold. Maybe a single atom is different, a single word unsaid, a single choice unmade. Infinity allows, even demands, such shadows. The thought is dizzying. If there are infinite versions of you, then what makes this you unique? Are you singular, or only one among endless echoes? Does your life matter if it is repeated infinitely? Or is meaning found precisely in inhabiting this shard, even while others exist? Philosophers wrestle with these questions. Some argue that multiplicity dilutes significance. If everything happens somewhere, then nothing truly matters. Others insist the opposite, that meaning is always local, rooted in the experience of this version, this life. Your choices matter here, in this reflection. What happens elsewhere does not erase what happens here. But the doppelganger problem is not only philosophical, it haunts physics too. If universes branch and duplicate, do they ever overlap? Could another you ever touch this one? In theory, decoherence hides the branches, sealing them apart. But some speculate that faint connections remain, entanglements across realities, echoes that manifest as déjà vu, uncanny coincidences, the sense of having lived a moment before. Science cannot confirm it. Imagination cannot let it go. It sounds fake, absurd, that infinite versions of you exist, living infinite variations of your life. And yet the mathematics points toward it. The cosmology allows it. The probabilities demand it. The fractured mirror does not only multiply universes, it multiplies us. This vision can be terrifying. To imagine infinite selves is to imagine the loss of uniqueness, the dissolution of identity. But it can also be liberating. If other versions of you exist, then perhaps failure here is not final. Perhaps success is not singular. Perhaps the self is larger than this reflection alone. Multiplicity does not erase meaning. It reframes it. You are this version, living this life, in this shard of reality. That is what matters. The silence before time gave us space-time. Inflation gave us webs. Strings gave us harmonies. Branes gave us parallel worlds. The holographic principle revealed projection. Entanglement stitched the fabric. And the shadows of the self remind us that the fractured mirror does not only reflect the cosmos, it reflects us. Overlapping worlds. If parallel realities exist, are they sealed away forever, separated by invisible walls we can never cross? Or could the fractured mirror allow for overlap? Places where universes brush together, bleed across, or even collide? This is the haunting question of overlapping worlds, whether parallel realities are not only real, but closer than we think. At first, science suggests separation. In the many worlds interpretation, branches split and decohere, sealed away from one another by the mathematics of probability. In eternal inflation, bubbles expand into infinity, each locked within its own horizon. In string theory, branes may drift in higher space, but remain confined to their dimensions. The images seem clear. Universes multiply, but they do not meet. And yet, cracks appear in the walls. Physics whispers of contact. In eternal inflation, bubbles can collide. When universes form close enough, their edges may touch, their boundaries pressing together. The aftermath would leave imprints, scars on the cosmic microwave background, faint circles or anomalies in the afterglow of creation. Cosmologists have searched for such patterns. None are confirmed, but the possibility remains. Perhaps our universe bears the bruises of a past collision, faint marks of another cosmos brushing ours. In string theory, branes may not only drift, but collide. The ekpyrotic model suggests that our universe itself may have been born from such an impact. Two branes crashing in higher dimensional space, releasing energy, igniting expansion. If so, then collisions are not rare accidents, but the very engines of creation. Universes overlap, not as exception, but as rule. Even quantum mechanics hints at bleed-through. Though decoherence hides branches, interference shows that possibilities still echo faintly. Some speculate that under rare conditions, these echoes could persist, producing anomalies we cannot yet explain. Could déjà vu, uncanny coincidences, or quantum randomness be the whisper of other worlds, their shadows brushing against ours? Science does not confirm it, but imagination lingers on the thought. Gravity may also betray overlap. Unlike other forces, it is weak, so weak that it may leak into higher dimensions. If so, then our brane may already be influenced by neighbors, parallel worlds tugging faintly on ours through gravity's veil. Experiments probing gravity at small scales search for deviations, hoping to reveal the pull of other realities. And black holes deepen the mystery. Some theories suggest that what falls into a black hole may not be destroyed, but transferred, information preserved on horizons, or even spilling into another universe. If so, then black holes are not ends, but bridges, portals where realities fold into one another. Overlap becomes more than speculation. It becomes passage. It sounds fake, absurd, that universes collide, that dimensions leak, that déjà vu is a shimmer of another self. And yet physics leaves the door open. Inflation, branes, entanglement, gravity, each whispers of contact. The fractured mirror may not be perfectly separate. Its shards may overlap, faintly, fleetingly, unpredictably. What would it mean if worlds do overlap? It would mean that reality is not sealed, but porous, that universes may influence one another, that our cosmos is not isolated but connected. It would mean that our story is not ours alone, but woven into a greater tapestry of overlapping realities. The silence before time gave us space-time. Inflation gave us webs. Strings gave us harmonies. Branes gave us parallel worlds. The holographic principle revealed projection. Entanglement stitched the fabric. Shadows of the self multiplied us. And overlapping worlds now remind us that the fractured mirror may not only exist beside us, but touch us, bleed into us, echo through us still. Consciousness and dimensions. The universe may be a cathedral, of hidden halls, built of dimensions we cannot see, vibrating with strings we cannot touch, stitched together by entanglement we cannot feel. And yet, within this vast architecture, one mystery stands apart: consciousness. For what is a universe without a mind to perceive it? What is a cathedral without light entering its stained glass? And could consciousness itself be more than a passenger? Could it be a key, a bridge between dimensions, a mirror within the fractured mirror? Physics deals in equations, but experience resists equations. Neurons fire, synapses spark, circuits process. But how does awareness arise? How does matter become mind? This is the hard problem of consciousness, unsolved, untouched by our deepest theories. Some believe it is emergent, a byproduct of complexity, like whirlpools forming in rivers. Others whisper it is fundamental, woven into the fabric of reality, like space and time. If the latter is true, then consciousness may be a dimension of its own, one we inhabit but do not measure. Quantum mechanics complicates the puzzle. In the double-slit experiment, particles exist in superposition until measured. But what counts as measurement? A detector? A recording? Or the awareness of an observer? Some interpretations, debated, controversial, persistent, suggest that consciousness collapses the wave function, that awareness itself selects reality from possibility. If so, then the mind is not passive. It is participatory. It shapes the shard of the fractured mirror we inhabit. What if then consciousness is entangled across dimensions? In the many worlds view, every choice creates branches. But perhaps awareness spans them, faintly connecting shadows of the self. Déjà vu, intuition, uncanny moments of recognition. Are they the mind glimpsing its echoes across worlds? Science cannot confirm it, but the idea lingers. The mind as bridge, perception as overlap. Philosophy has long entertained such visions. Mystics speak of higher states of consciousness, awareness expanding beyond the body, touching realities unseen. Ancient texts describe the self as reflection of the cosmic whole, Atman as Brahman, mind as microcosm of universe. Even modern neuroscience hints at mysteries, consciousness as integration, as resonance, as coherence across scales. Could it be that the mind is tuned not only to neurons, but to dimensions beyond? It sounds fake, absurd, mystical. And yet physics leaves space for mystery. The holographic principle shows reality may be projection. Entanglement shows connection across distance. Strings and branes show dimensions beyond perception. Why should consciousness be exempt? Perhaps the architecture of the cosmos and the architecture of the mind are reflections, each fractal echoes of the other. If consciousness does touch dimensions, what does that mean for us? It means we are not only observers, but participants, not only reflections, but lights that illuminate reflections. It means awareness is not an accident, but an element, as real as gravity, as essential as time. It means our questions are not only about the cosmos, but about ourselves, because to know one is to know the other. The silence before time gave us space-time. Inflation gave us webs. Strings gave us harmonies. Branes gave us parallel worlds. The holographic principle revealed projection. Entanglement stitched the fabric. Shadows multiplied the self. Overlap suggested contact. And now consciousness opens the door inward, showing that the hidden architecture of the cosmos may not only be out there, but in here, reflected in every thought, every awareness, every question we ask of the mirror. Experiments at the edge. Theories dazzle the imagination. Strings vibrating in unseen dimensions. branes drifting in higher space, holograms projecting entire universes, entanglement stitching space-time itself. But science cannot live on theory alone. It must reach, test, measure. The fractured mirror is beautiful, but if it is real, it must leave traces. And so, scientists push to the very edges of what can be observed, building machines and methods to search for cracks in the invisible walls. The first place to look is the sky itself. The cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of the Big Bang, is a canvas of ancient light. Frozen within it are patterns from the infant universe, subtle ripples that became galaxies, voids, and webs. If our universe ever brushed another, collided with a bubble in eternal inflation, the scars may linger in this light. Circular anomalies, faint bruises in the microwave sky, could be fingerprints of overlapping worlds. Satellites like COBE, WMAP, and Planck have mapped the background with exquisite precision. So far, no confirmed scars, but the search continues. Each new map refines the mirror, sharpening our gaze. Closer to home, experiments probe gravity. Unlike the other forces, gravity is weak. So weak a magnet in your hand can overcome the pull of an entire planet. Some physicists suggest this weakness is a clue. Gravity may leak into extra dimensions, its strength diluted across branes. To test this, scientists build torsion balances and pendulums sensitive enough to measure gravity at millimeter scales. If it deviates from Newton's law at tiny distances, it could reveal hidden dimensions. So far, gravity holds steady. But the measurements creep ever closer, narrowing the gaps where dimensions may hide. At CERN's Large Hadron Collider, protons smash together at near-light speeds, recreating energies from the earliest instance of the universe. Here, scientists search for missing energy, particles that vanish, as if slipping into neighboring branes. They search for miniature black holes, for signatures of string vibrations, for deviations that betray hidden architecture. Nothing confirmed yet. But every collision is a question, every spray of particles an attempt to crack the mirror. Quantum experiments probe the other frontier. Entangled particles tested across kilometers defy locality, their correlations stronger than classical physics allows. Could these correlations hint at deeper connections, even across universes? Not yet. But the very act of asking reshapes our understanding. Physicists also push quantum systems to larger scales, entangling molecules, superconductors, even mechanical oscillators. If quantum behavior persists at macroscopic levels, it supports the idea that branching realities are real, that many worlds are not fiction, but foundation. Black holes remain laboratories of paradox. Hawking's discovery of black hole radiation raised the question, what happens to information that falls inside? If it is lost, quantum mechanics is broken. If it is preserved, then reality itself must be stranger than we know. The holographic principle offers one answer. The information is stored on the horizon, encoded like a cosmic ledger. Tests of this principle are indirect but ongoing through studies of black hole thermodynamics, quantum information, and even analog systems created in labs. Each experiment is a lantern cast against the darkness of the fractured mirror. Dark matter and dark energy, the unseen majority of the cosmos, may also hold clues. Some propose that dark matter could be particles from a parallel brane, their gravity leaking into ours. Others suggest dark energy, the force accelerating cosmic expansion, could be the influence of other universes pressing against ours. No proof yet. But telescopes map galaxies. Detectors sit deep underground. Instruments measure cosmic acceleration, all searching for what is hidden. It sounds fake, absurd, that torsion balances, particle colliders, satellites, and telescopes could detect other universes, hidden dimensions, entangled fabrics. And yet, this is what science does. It takes the impossible and makes it testable. It builds instruments to measure whispers, machines to recreate creation, experiments to probe edges where reality thins. So far, the fractured mirror has not cracked. But every negative result is not failure. It is refinement. Each unanswered question narrows the field, sharpens the theory, brings us closer to truth. And the search itself is profound. To look for other worlds in the static of ancient light, in the tug of gravity, in the spray of particles, is to admit that the cosmos may be larger than imagination. To ask is already to expand. The silence before time gave us space-time. Inflation gave us webs. Strings gave us harmonies. Branes gave us parallel worlds. The holographic principle projected us. Entanglement stitched us. Shadows multiplied us. Overlap whispered of contact. Consciousness lit the mirror. And experiments now press at the edges, asking reality to reveal its architecture, daring the fractured mirror to show its seams. The human meaning of hidden worlds. We began with equations, with filaments of galaxies and vibrations of strings. We traced branes drifting in higher space, holograms projected from cosmic boundaries, entanglement threads weaving space-time. But sooner or later, every path leads back to the same question. What does it mean for us? For it is not only the cosmos that stands in the fractured mirror. It is the human face, multiplied, reflected, refracted through hidden worlds. For centuries, we imagined ourselves central. Earth was the stage. The heavens turned above. The stars were lamps hung for us. Then came the first dethronement. Earth is not the center, but one planet among many. Then another, the sun is not special, but one star among billions. Then another, the Milky Way is not unique, but one galaxy among trillions. Each step widened perspective, humbled certainty, expanded imagination. And now comes perhaps the greatest dethronement of all. Our universe itself may not be singular. It may be one among countless others. At first, this thought can feel crushing. If there are infinite worlds, infinite versions of us, does this one matter? Are we unique, or just one copy among many? Does our story mean less, played endlessly on infinite stages? Some feel insignificance, a dissolving of meaning in infinity. But others find liberation. For if the cosmos is vast, then our presence within it is miraculous. If universes multiply, then the fact that this one allows life, allows thought, allows us, is profound. We are not diminished by infinity. We are illuminated by it. The fractured mirror challenges identity. If shadows of ourselves exist, are we singular or many? Are we defined by this reflection or by the whole? Perhaps both. Perhaps identity is local. We are this self, this story, but also universal, part of a larger mosaic of selves spread across mirrors. To be human is to be one thread in a tapestry far larger than we can see. It also challenges choice. If every decision branches, if every path is taken somewhere, does choice matter? Yes, because meaning is not in the branching, but in the living. You inhabit one branch, one path. Your choices shape this reflection. The existence of others does not erase the weight of here and now. In fact, it magnifies it, reminding us that even amid infinity, This moment is unique. The fractured mirror also reframes mortality. If universes are infinite, if shadows of ourselves live elsewhere, then perhaps death is not final in the way we imagine. Not because we persist in this shard, but because versions of us persist in others. This is not immortality, not comfort in the usual sense, but it is perspective. The self is not only singular, it is multiplicity. And beyond identity, beyond mortality, the hidden worlds shape philosophy. They remind us that humility is essential, that certainty is fragile, that mystery is not a failure, but a feature. They remind us that science is not only about answers, but about questions, about the courage to imagine what lies beyond, to test the impossible, to stand at the edge of the mirror and ask what is real. It sounds fake, absurd, that other universes change our meaning, that shadows of the self reshape philosophy, that hidden dimensions alter identity. And yet this is what science has always done. Each expansion of the cosmos has reshaped our place within it. The multiverse is simply the next horizon. So what is the human meaning of hidden worlds? It is not despair, but wonder. It is not insignificance, but connection. It is not erasure, but expansion. To live in a universe that may be one among many is to live in mystery, to live in awe, to live in the knowledge that reality is always larger than imagination. The silence before time gave us space-time. Inflation gave us webs. Strings gave us harmonies. Branes gave us parallel worlds. The holographic principle projected us. Entanglement stitched us. Shadows multiplied us. Overlap whispered of contact. Consciousness lit the mirror. Experiments pressed the edges. And the human meaning of hidden worlds reminds us that in all of it, the fractured mirror is not only physics, but philosophy. Not only cosmos, but us. At the end of this long journey, we return to the question with which it began. What lies beyond what we see? Are the walls of our reality solid, or are they translucent, showing faint hints of other rooms, other halls, other worlds? We have followed threads from quantum ripples to cosmic webs, from vibrating strings to drifting branes, from holographic projections to entangled fabrics. We have looked into mirrors that multiplied us, overlapped us, reshaped us, and at last we arrive not at certainty, but at reflection. The fractured mirror does not offer easy answers. It offers images, universes as bubbles, stacked branes, holograms, lattices, webs. Each is metaphor, mathematics clothed in imagery, poetry spun from equations. None may be final. All may be glimpses. But together, they remind us of one thing. Reality is larger, stranger, more layered than we can know. The architecture of the cosmos is not flat, but vaulted, not simple, but hidden, not singular, but multiplied. In every era, humanity has asked what lies beyond. Beyond the horizon of the sea, there were lands unknown. Beyond the sky, there were stars uncounted. Beyond the galaxy, there were galaxies without end. Each time, the answer has humbled us. And now we ask again, beyond our universe, what lies? The answer may humble us once more, showing us that even our cosmos is not the whole, but a shard, one reflection in a hall of mirrors. Does it matter if we never prove it? Perhaps not. The value is not only in answers, but in the act of asking. To wonder is to expand. To imagine is to grow. The human spirit thrives not on certainty, but on mystery. And the multiverse, the hidden dimensions, the holographic cosmos, these are mysteries vast enough to last forever. Still, science presses forward. Satellites map the afterglow of creation. Colliders smash protons to glimpse the smallest scales. Detectors listen for gravitational whispers. Telescopes peer into the dark. Each experiment is a lantern, each result a reflection. We may never see the whole mirror, but piece by piece, shard by shard, we trace its outlines. And what of meaning? If the universe is one among many, if we are one among infinite shadows, do our lives matter less? Number. They matter more. For meaning is not diminished by multiplicity. It is sharpened by presence. You are here, in this shard, in this reflection. Your choices shape this path, this story, this life. The existence of others does not erase the weight of now. Infinity does not erase identity. It deepens it. The final reflection, then, is not despair, but wonder. Not erasure, but illumination. We live in a cosmos that may be infinite, fractured, layered beyond comprehension. And yet, we are part of it, woven into its lattices, sung by its strings, projected by its holograms, stitched by its entanglements. We are not outside the mirror. We are inside it. We are its reflections. The silence before time gave us space-time. Inflation gave us webs. Strings gave us harmonies. Branes gave us parallel worlds. The holographic principle projected us. Entanglement stitched us. Shadows multiplied us. Overlap whispered of contact. Consciousness lit the mirror. Experiments pressed the edges. Meaning gave us perspective. And now, in the final reflection, we see not only the architecture of the cosmos, but ourselves, questioners, wanderers, dreamers, alive inside the mystery. The mirror is fractured, but in its shards, we see infinity. And in infinity, we see ourselves. The journey ends where it began, with a question whispered into the silence of the stars. What lies beyond what we see? We have traced the hidden scaffolding of reality, from cosmic webs stretching across billions of light years to strings vibrating in unseen dimensions. We have imagined branes drifting like cosmic bubbles in higher space, colliding to spark new worlds. We have followed entanglement threads, stitching particles, people, perhaps even universes into one. We have stood before the fractured mirror, watching it multiply us, overlap us, reflect us. And still, the question remains. The mirror does not answer. It only reflects. But perhaps that is the gift. For in reflection, we find ourselves. When we look to the skies, we are not only mapping galaxies, we are mapping possibility. Every telescope is a question. Every detector, a confession of wonder. We do not know if the universe is hologram, or orchestra, or lattice of unseen strings. But in the asking, in the searching, we expand. The fractured mirror is not only out there in the cosmos, it is in here, in our minds, in our longing, in our willingness to imagine what lies beyond. Perhaps the hidden architecture will remain hidden forever, its corridors beyond reach, its dimensions folded forever out of sight. Perhaps universes will never collide, branes will never overlap, shadows of ourselves will never touch. But even if so, the journey matters. To walk to the edge of understanding is to live fully. To carry questions larger than answers is to honor the mystery we inhabit. Or perhaps, one day, a scar in the cosmic microwave background, a deviation in gravity, a particle vanishing into the unknown, will reveal it. Perhaps the mirror will show its cracks. Perhaps we will glimpse the architecture, however briefly, and know that our cosmos is not all. That it is one shard in a cathedral larger than imagination. Either way, we are not diminished. For meaning does not require certainty. It requires presence. You are here alive in this reflection, asking these questions, breathing beneath these stars. Your awareness is itself part of the architecture, a light cast into the mirror, illuminating the infinite with curiosity. The hidden dimensions may be real, or they may be poetry. But poetry, too, is real in its own way. It shapes how we live, how we see, how we dream. And the dream of the multiverse, of overlapping worlds, of unseen architectures, is a dream worth carrying. It humbles us, enlarges us, teaches us to live in awe. So take one last look at the mirror. Fractured? Yes, but shining. In its shards lie galaxies, universes, possibilities without end. In its reflections lie shadows of ourselves, stories untold, choices unmade. And here, in this shard, in this life, lies you, singular, precious, alive. The silence before time gave us space-time. Inflation wove the webs. Strings sang the harmonies. Branes collided to make worlds. The holographic principle projected them. Entanglement stitched them. Shadows multiplied us. Overlap teased us. Consciousness lit the mirror. Experiments pressed its edges. Meaning reflected us. And now, in the closing meditation, we step back and see the whole. A cosmos layered, hidden, infinite, and ourselves within it. The fractured mirror may never be whole, but in its infinite shards, there is beauty. In its mysteries, there is wonder. And in its reflections, there is us. So let the question remain unanswered. Let the mirror remain fractured. For in the asking, in the wondering, we are already touching infinity.